y'all. This is so blessed. Welcome to the Blessed Place. How y'all doing? It is movie review time. Yes, I entitled this video Not Just for Colored Girls, because this movie, although it's called For Colored Girls, it is not just for colored girls. It's for all people, but especially all women. Now, For Colored Girls is the newest movie by Tyler Perry, and I want to first say that this video is chocked full of spoilers. It is a movie that all women would be so moved by. Now, I can't say that all women will like it or love it as I did. I really love this movie. Just went deep into your soul. Okay, the movie starring, I think it's 9 women. I'm going to see if I can remember them all. But basically, it's individual stories of these 9 women and how they eventually intertwined with each other. Is based on a book of poems. And that's another thing. I feel like you have to, at least, even if you don't like or love poetry, you got to have some type of respect or understanding of poetry, because otherwise you might not like it. Even going into the movie, it's good to know that a lot of the soliloquy or the running on and on that some of the ladies do, it's actually poetry that they're reciting. Go down the list of the different women and the different scenarios that was playing out in their lives, and how I related to it. I can relate to so many of these characters, and I believe that's why I think that it's good for every woman to see this, because out of the 9 characters, I believe that every woman can identify with some aspect of each woman's life. And like I said, this is in no particular order, but Phylicia Rashad played an outstanding part of a woman of wisdom, woman of character, a woman of knowing. She's been there and she's done that, and she could be a guiding force for these women who have experienced so much pain and loss in their lives. And I would say one of my favorite parts of Felicia's was when Tandy Newton, and I'm gonna go into her character, but when Tandy was in the hallway and she asked, Phylicia Rashad was standing at her door staring at, looking at Tandy Newton, and Tandy was like, "What you looking at, old lady?" And Phylicia Rashad said, "Nothing." That was my absolute favorite line. It was one word, and one word spoke volumes. The next woman was Loretta Devine. Loretta Devine was kind of that comic relief somewhat, and also too, she was that older woman who was vulnerable to love. And the absolute favorite part that I love of hers, when she was reciting that poem about losing her stuff, how she almost lost her stuff. Oh my goodness, I could so identify. Anybody out there see this movie? And did you like that part about the poem about her losing her stuff? These poems go so deep. They go to the marrow, to the bone and marrow of your soul. I'm thinking, I remember a time when I almost lost my stuff. Janet Jackson played a stone cold, I think it was a magazine exec. She was wealthy, well put together, and like so many women, so well put together on the outside, stone cold on the outside, but somewhere deep underneath there she had a heart. But I think that heart had turned to stone because of hurt. She had been previously married, and whatever transpired in that marriage she had previously hurt, and now she was on a second marriage, and in this second marriage she was also going through a lot of hurt and pain, and ended up that this man was cheating on her too, but y'all, not with another woman, but with another man. But so many of us can probably identify with Janet Jackson's character because of past hurt and pain. Our heart have turned to stone. I can identify because I have had that wall up. And I would even tell you my wall is still not completely down. It's still not completely down. I just thank God that he blessed me with a man who says, not only you don't have to tear the wall down. I'm going to climb the wall and come over to you. Oh, Kerry Washington. She was a woman that was married to, I would say, the only good guy in the movie. And she so wanted a baby. She wanted a baby so much that it consumed her, and she couldn't even quite receive the love that her husband was giving her, and was trying to tell her that even if we can't have a baby, I still love you. And she was a social worker. She was a social worker who was in charge of checking into the abuse of another character, and I'm going to talk about a little later. And she was so consumed with her own need for a baby and desire for a baby that she couldn't even do her job effectively. Anika Noni Rose. Now, I know Anika Noni Rose from Dreamgirls. She was one of the Dreamgirl characters with Beyonce, and that's where I know her from. But I think she's, she does a lot in theater. But she played a really good part. She was a dancer, and I believe like the owner of a little dance studio. And she was just so effervescent and naive, but also guarded. But she started dating this guy and led him into her apartment for, dinner or whatever. And he brutally raped her. It was, oh my God, it was such a devastating scene. I liked the way they intertwined the rape with the at the same time Janet Jackson was at the opera with her husband, and oh my God, the opera was just, the opera was so magnificent, made me say, oh my God, I want to go to an opera, because I'd never seen an all-black cast of an opera. I've never gone to an opera at all, but seeing it on TV, I've never seen an all-black cast of opera, and it made me say, oh my goodness. Although I have no idea what they were singing, I thought, it was so magnificent. But anyway, they intertwined it with this brutal rape that was also going on with Anika Noni Rose. And I just felt, I felt her pain in this rape, because we know that so many women have been raped or molested or abused. And it was just so devastating, and I just felt like I felt her pain. Like I said earlier, it's hard to judge to say who was the best character, but Kimberly Elise, I would say, she had to go the deepest. I mean, the most, to me, Oscar-worthy performance. She had to go deep. She had to go dark, because she was a woman who was being abused by her husband, and her husband was a vet. A war vet, and he was having probably some post-traumatic stress situations going on, and she was enduring this abuse to, I'm sure, basically hold her family together. She had 2 young kids. Well, her husband ended up killing her 2 babies by dropping them off of the ledge of their apartment. And oh my God, that was so overwhelming and unpredictable, because I never would have thought the whole time that she's fighting her husband to hold on to these babies. I'm thinking to myself, Tyler is not going to let these babies get killed. Tyler's not going to let this man, who was Michael Eli, who played the character, drop these babies. And surely enough, oh my God, he dropped these babies off the ledge. Thankfully they didn't show it, but he dropped these babies off the ledge, and these babies died. And Kimberly Elise was, I don't know if there are words to describe what a mother would go through. But what I love is when Felicia Rashad, when I talked about her being the wise woman, how she came to talk to Kimberly, because Kimberly, after this had happened, she just kind of locked herself away in her apartment and I'm sure, just sulking in her misery. And Felicia, I like that Felicia Rashad told her that you have to take responsibility, and you were partly responsible, because it's your responsibility. It's our responsibility, mothers, to take care of our children. And if a man is abusing, I don't care if he's your husband, I don't care if he's your father, I don't care if he's your boyfriend, I don't care if he's your baby daddy, if he is abusing you and or your children, it is your responsibility to take care of those children and ensure their safety. And Kimberly Lease was somewhat complicit in the death of her children, and she had to, and Felicia Rashad told her she had to own up to that responsibility, because she could not start her healing process until she take responsibility for being complicit in her children's death. And I thought that was just so poignant when Felicia said that, because that could be a little touchy situation. That could be very touchy with the viewing audience, to blame the mother. And I wouldn't even say blaming, but having her own. I always think of a movie. Whenever I see movies, I always think of which character, if this character was missing, would change the whole fabric of the movie. And I would say that if Tandy Newton was not in this movie, to me it would have changed the whole fabric of the movie. Like I say, every woman held their own, and it's hard to say who was the best. But I would say this movie would not have been the same without Tandy Newton. Tandy Newton was a woman who had gone through a lot in her past, had gone through, her mom had taken her against her will to have an abortion, to some old quack who was Macy Gray. Macy Gray played a part, y'all, them teeth. But she had gone through a lot of things, and because she had gone through a lot of things, the way her hurt and pain manifested itself or masqueraded itself was in promiscuity. Was so funny, and her philosophy basically in life was, if you have a messed up life, you better learn to have some humor about it, and especially when you have a messed up mama. And her mama was played by Whoopi Goldberg, and Whoopi Goldberg was this religious fanatic. And I don't know if where her mental issues started and her religious dogma began. I don't know. So it's hard to say, but I would say she was a little cuckoo. But she played that part. She was the youngest cast member, and she was a young girl, 17, getting ready to go off to college. Was her mom. Her mom was Whoopi Goldberg, and Tandy Newton was her sister, and she was her mom's pride and joy. And her mom thought she was, pure and holy and naive, and come to find out that Tessa was pregnant and wanting to get rid of her baby. I can so identify with Tessa too, because when I was in college, although I was a little older than Tessa was, by this time I'm 20, I'm in my senior year in college, and I'm pregnant, and God knows I don't want to be. It's the last thing that I want to be, and I don't want to have this baby. And I let it grow inside me and grow inside me and grow inside me for months and months and months, in total denial and shock and panic, and don't know what to do, and don't know how to take care of this, and don't know how to, especially a struggling college student with no money, how am I going to get rid of this baby? And then when I finally decide to do something and I go to the doctor, you guys, I'm 5.5 months. Voila, now there's 22-year-old Derica. God is so good. He's so awesome. But anyway, I could so identify with Tessa's her pain and her fear and all the things that go along with a young girl being. I hear so many women say, "I don't have any women friends. Me and women don't get along." To me, any woman who does not get along with other women, I'm not saying every single woman, because some women are truck, but if you don't get along with any women and you don't have any women friends, you need to check yourself. I'm telling you, you need to check yourself, because there is nothing like friendship and having a bond with your girls. Not just for colored girls. Everybody, y'all go check it out. I promise you, you're gonna, even if you don't love the movie, you're going to leave that movie thinking about how to get your stuff. All right? Thank y'all for watching. Y'all be blessed.